While recording my last video, one thing was made very apparent to me. Apparently, everybody has an insane amount of credit card debt. Now, if you actually look it up, the average US person has $6,730 worth of credit card debt. Now, of course, that is the average, not the median, so it could be a select few amount of people who are really driving up those numbers. But still, what those numbers show is that somebody with $1.30 in their bank account with no debt has more of a net worth than the average US person. In today's video, we will really be showing how much people actually have in credit card debt by reacting to some TikToks posted by you guys.
Day one of paying off my brand new car. So I had to get a new car. Well, it didn't have to be a new car, but I had to get a new car because my Bronco Sport does not fit a car seat. Well, the car seat that I wanted, at least.
Absolutely, it could.
So I had to get a new one, and I was like, if I'm going to get a car, I want it to be new. I want it to have all the things I want, and I'm going to keep this car for 10 to 15 years. So not only am I getting this car, I'm going to keep it for a very, very long time. So I'm going to want to love this car. My husband works for a car company, so we were able to get a employee discount with the vehicle. And so we got a brand new 2025 Tahoe Z71. So we want to have 3 kids, so it'll fit all 3 kids, and it's got extra room in the back. It's going to work perfectly for us for the next 10-15 years, or probably even longer. We will probably keep this thing until the wheels fall off. Like, this vehicle is an investment and not just a liability. So this is how much we owe. Yay. And it's at like a 7% interest. So I'm going to try to pay this down every single day. I'm going to put at least $1 down on this. And I'm currently 35 weeks pregnant, so I am like craving stuff like crazy. I wanted Taco Bell for lunch today, but I knew I got to pay off this car. So we're putting $10 toward the principal today, and then check in tomorrow to see how much I'm going to put toward the principal.
Now, she is falling for a very common trap. Now, if you actually look it up, the very first edition of a sports Bronco was actually in 2021, meaning that in less than 5 years, she's already wanted to upgrade to something newer, something better, something that she deems not a liability. And looking at some of the images, I know damn well for certain that she definitely could have fit 3 kids in a kid seat. Now, yes, obviously she'd say that, oh, we're going to drive this car until the wheels fall off, right? But if you've already established that you have bought in a minimum 4-year-old car, right? And you are already trying to buy a newer and better car, and let's not even ignore the fact that she's probably still paying off the Bronco, since most car loans are like, what, 10, 15 years, which I think is ridiculous, but, you know, that's besides the point. She's already set herself up of the first time of, okay, trading something new for something newer. So who's to say that she won't trade in her new car for something that's even newer when something better comes out? Now, she could have even gone older. I know there's a ton of older cars with a ton of space in them. Yeah, she definitely could have made it work, but now instead she's basically $61,000 in debt, which is crazy. That is a huge chunk of any kind of mortgage. $61,000 into just a car, in my opinion, is not a financially reasonable thing to do. And it's crazy because you even hear people complaining about $30,000 cars. The average used car as of current is $30,000, I believe. Let me double check. Okay, I was a little off. The average used car is $25,000, which is still ridiculous. Whatever happened to the $5,000 starter cars? Those are not existent since the pandemic. And I even remember this because I believe that the pandemic happened in my junior year. I remember looking into cars my freshman and sophomore year, and hell, even after the pandemic first started, when the prices weren't ridiculously high, I remember seeing a bunch of really nice cars for $5,000. And as the pandemic hit, I was like, holy crap. And I ended up overspending on my car. I have a 2014 Honda Civic. It was sold to me for $17,000. But fortunately for me, like the girl in the video, I actually knew somebody who worked at a car dealership, so they were able to knock down $3,000 from that car, bringing down the total to $14,000, which even nowadays, I think that's a pretty good deal for a 2014 Honda Civic. But, you know, I think now you can get like a 2016 Honda Civic for around about the same price, around about the same mileage that I got. And we even have some commenters down talking about how insane this car price is. And I thought my 18K car loan was high. Somebody else responded, mine is 14K and it's too much. Same with my 20K, and I was sick thinking of the $300 payment.
Some people may ask, what the fuck did you buy to be in $72,000 of credit card debt? Well, let me show you. This is a series that I created to go through every single transaction that we have to show y'all how we got in debt in the first place. If you're new here, my name is Sierra. My husband and I are paying off $72,444.44.
So it's even more than the last video.
We started our journey September of 2024, and we paid off almost $30,000 of credit card debt. This is a card that we have paid off already. As you can see, current balance is 0. But let's go through our old transactions and see what the fuck we bought. It looks like we got this card March of 2023, so about 2 years ago. It took us so long to pay off this freaking card, but it looks like our first purchase was March 13th. This was for $290.98, and this was for our dog's flea and tick. We buy them in a period of 6 months, so we actually have
that's a good purchase right there
now. But we started off with the card pretty good. We basically made the purchase and then we paid it off right away, how you're supposed to use a card. The APR is 27.49%, so pretty high. So we're starting off smooth. Okay, let's go into April. This was for a free trip that we had to pay just the taxes on. So it was $99. And then again, we made a payment for, it looks like $93, and we had cash back $5. So
okay, so where does it all go wrong? That's my question.
Fine as well. No interest for the entire year. We're 2 months in. And then we fucked up. I don't even want to say we. It was me. So if this is the first time that you've seen this series, long story short, what I used to do is I would basically Venmo, say for example, this is my card, right? I would Venmo my husband. So as you can see, Venmo is for $1,050.60. I would Venmo it to his Venmo. Then he or I would basically withdraw those funds. That way it can go into our bank account. So that's considered a cash advance. When you do this, Venmo, I believe, charges 3% already. On top of that, you also get another fee. So as you can see, this one was $31.52. And then at the bottom, it looks like just for that amount, we were charged $107.24. So there is
okay. I don't really quite understand that, because the credit card you can just use, right? So why would you need to put it into your account
until it was fully paid off? I would do this because we would run out of money in our bank account. Obviously, we were spending like crazy. This is when we actually went on.
Okay, so then why don't you just use just the credit card?
So we did about a year.
I don't know if I'm missing something. Let me know down below. But
and the
I don't get why she's basically withdrawing the money.
So this almost maxed out the card alone. And then we also had an AT&T payment that was our Wi-Fi for $69. When I learned about this hack or whatever it was, it got us in debt so quick. Fast forward a year later, we went on Caleb's show and he helped us out. But yeah, we were still doing
on Caleb.
This,
I love Caleb, by the way. Go ahead and follow Caleb.
Caleb Hammer. I couldn't even do this trick even if I wanted to. So then we have another cash advance fee for $10. We Venmoed $206, which was most likely the only amount that was even available to begin with. It looks like Uber, we spent something for $10. And then this card, they used to pay for Uber One and they completely stopped. So as you can see, we did get a credit for $9.99. And then I was just making the minimum payments of $25. So
I'm going to go ahead and pause the video right there, because this is a really long video. It's about 10 minutes long. I don't want to just sit here. But as you can see, she's kind of just paying for life necessities in a way, which kind of really shows that, people aren't really making as much as they really should be. Either that or, what? They did say that they would spend like crazy, meaning that they were living above their means. But it's actually a pretty good talking point. A lot of people, they see these people going out on vacations all the time. They'd be seeing them going out to really nice restaurants and really living this fake luxurious life, when really it's all being paid by a credit card. What I really want to know is, how did she get a credit card that would let her even spend $72,000? I just got mine bumped up to $2,500, and I think that's a lot. I don't even spend anywhere close to that, but you know what? I don't know. Not my life, not my thing. It is useless. Okay, so $27,000 in debt at the ripe age of 22 years old. I can tell what it is. It's definitely her finally getting some independence. She definitely wanted to spend all of her money, but now she will be paying off that money for a very long time. Do not fall for these credit card things. You know what? Just pay the bare necessities. Go ahead and pay your stuff out. Because I will talk about my personal credit for a second. I have opened up my credit card less than a year ago. I believe it's been about 10 months now, so almost about that year range, right? And I only make one payment a month, and that is one payment for gas. I think this month I actually did end up spending a little bit more, but that's because I wanted to buy my little brother a PC because he won his very first boxing match, which, by the way, go support him. I'll go ahead and leave a link right here. Back to what I was saying, I've only spent one gas trip per month. I pay it off damn near immediately. And right now, my credit score is sitting right around 750 in less than a year. So if you can just avoid spending the utmost amount, ignore all those utility or utilization rates or, pay off this and that, right? Literally just pay off the bare minimum, use one or two payments, pay it, and you'll have good credit. And it's not even like I'm using a good credit card. I'm using the default Bank of America credit card. I know some people use the Capital One Saver One account to build credit. You really don't need any of that. Literally just any credit card, make minimum payments, pay that off almost right away. You have good credit.
How do some of y'all have $27,000 in credit card debt? I just want to know.
Years ago, I was in $60,000 of credit card debt, so I'll tell you exactly how that happened because I also never thought that I would get there, and it really does happen kind of fast. So the number one factor for me was the fact that I had so much anxiety and shame around money that I would actively avoid my finances. Like, I couldn't even look at my bank account, let alone sit down and make a budget. So all this in money advice and how to get yourself out of debt and whatever was kind of irrelevant to me because if I couldn't even get myself to the computer to open my bank account, I couldn't do the rest of it. And because I didn't have a budget and was avoiding my finances, it was really easy for me to not know how much I was spending month to month on subscriptions and various expenses that you accumulate over time. Plus, this was the worst mental health period of my life. So my ADHD was rearing its ugly head and I was impulse spending. I also just had a very nihilistic attitude of it doesn't even matter, whatever, I'll just deal with it later. But the thing that you don't realize when you first start getting into credit card debt is how quickly the interest compounds over time. And
that's the killer right there.
You can go from having $8,000 in credit card debt to $27,000 or $60,000 or whatever it is, because all of your cash is now going to two things. It's going to rent, maybe a few different utilities payments that you can't put on a credit card. It's going to your minimums, right? And your minimums on your credit cards are growing every single month, even if you don't put a single new charge on that credit card. When all of your cash is going to your credit card minimums or even paying off a little bit more than your minimums to try to get ahead, you're still having to put a lot of your purchases on credit cards because you're out of cash. So that combined with the money avoidance to me was this perfect storm of I just didn't know how quickly debt would accumulate once it started. Once the ball started rolling, it gets away from you really fast. So the question is not how does someone end up with that much debt? The question is what are the patterns that got you into debt in the first place and that are keeping you from dealing with the debt? Because those are going to be the same patterns that turn this into a wildfire that spreads really quickly. I actually have a step-by-step process for dealing with your money anxiety and your fear of looking at your bank accounts if that's something you resonate with. So comment below and I will send it to you.
Now, she actually has a pretty interesting perspective on it. I know it's very easy to hear somebody say, oh, I have ADHD, oh, I have anxiety, so I never really finance myself. I know it's easy to hear all of that and immediately blame her, which it is her fault, right? But at least she's taking accountability for what it is. It could be said that that's just an excuse, which, I wouldn't see why you're not wrong. But at the end of the day, as long as her spending habits isn't necessarily affecting anybody else, I don't think that that's an issue. Now, if she's maybe a mother or something like that, then maybe that's a little bit more negligence, right? But at the end of the day, she's still paying it off. She still took accountability for her own actions. So, I guess there's not much else to say but that.
Want to know the fastest way you can get into debt? Okay, I'll tell you. It's by just paying the minimum balance.
That's the killer right there.
At the end of this video, I don't want to hear you don't understand what the consequences are.
It's the same thing with student loans. People keep complaining about their student loans, which I think it is crazy the amount that you have to pay for school, but
for the rest of your life.
they only make the minimum payments.
Because that's what I am right now. Always scarred. This right here is a basic layout of how the credit card statements are calculated. First, we have the beginning balance. So this is the beginning balance, whether that's beginning of the month or beginning of your statement. Next, we have interest. So this is the amount of money that you're going to owe the bank for borrowing the money. Then we have spending, which is the amount of money that you spent this month. Then we have our new balance, which is our interest that we owe plus the spending that we did this month equals our new balance. And our payment. So what do we pay off our credit card this month? And total amount paid to date. So this is just a total column. You can ignore this, but for my own sake, I like to see what payments I did and how that adds up on a monthly basis. In this example, we're just playing around with the idea of just paying the minimum balance for your credit card and assuming our interest rate is
The interest rate is crazy. That's why I don't mess with my credit card.
Annual rate, so
because that stacks up.
Monthly rate, we have to
that stacks up really quickly. 21%.
Bank uses divided by 365 days.
Like for reference, your mortgage, I think right now is at 6.5, and that's insane.
Have no balance because we didn't spend any money, so $0. Interest is usually calculated on a daily rate, so it will be the 21% divided by 365. But for the sake of this example, I'm calculating on a monthly rate, so I'm just going to take the 21% divided by 12 to get a rough estimate of a monthly interest rate. Interest in this case would be the $0 that we didn't spend this month times the annual rate, 21%, divided by 12, so for 12 months. So this would be $0 times 1.75%, which is 0. Say for the month of December, we spent $1,000. Our new balance would be our spending plus the interest that we owe, which is $0 in this case and 1,000. So 0 plus 1,000 is 1,000. This $1,000, our balance would be showing on our statement. So now it's time for us to make a payment. So what are we going to pay? We're going to pay the minimum. So say the minimum in this case is $30. So our total amount paid to date, we only paid $30 this month, so that will go there.
See, it doesn't even make any sense to me. Why would you only pay $30 out of $1,000?
So we spent $1,000.
I don't know if there's something that I'm missing, but I don't get why people don't spend more to try to get rid of that debt fast. I know people don't really make as much money as they could to put to the side and pay it off, but I don't know.
So beginning balance, nothing. Interest, therefore nothing. Spending, okay, we spent $1,000. So our new balance will be $1,000. Our payment, we just paid $30. So total paid will be $30. So next month, in February, we'll still owe $970. After interest, we owe $987, and we still keep making the $30 payment. Say we continue to make the payment of $30 per month for X number of years, so 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. By the end of year 1 in 2025 December, we paid a total of $360, and we still owe $829. By the end of
See, that's crazy.
We paid
You're just throwing away money at that point.
And we still owe $624. As this keeps going, you will see what I mean. So by 2027, we have paid over what we already owed, right? We owned $1,000. That's how much we owe the bank. That was on our statement. So we already paid that much, but we still have an outstanding balance of $418. So we continue to make the minimum payment. Year 4 now. And finally, year 5 in 2029. March is when we actually don't have anything owing. February we still have $3 owing, but March we have a negative balance. So let's just say March we paid it all off, and we paid a total of $1,500.
So it took years to really pay this off.
But the original amount we only owed the bank $1,000. So we paid over $500.
And you can see how easy it is to build this up because it won't just be $1,000. They'll keep adding more and more.
The credit card, not making any more purchases, and just paying the minimum balance of assuming $30 a month with an interest rate of 21%, it will take you 4 years and 2 months to pay off that $1,000, and you will pay $500 or more in interest. Isn't that just so scary? Let me know what you guys want to hear next.
And it just makes mathematical sense. I mean, if you were to put, like, let's say $100 into that, right? You'll have 900, and so with the interest, it'll be less than if you just put $30, so that way you owe less and less, so you can pay that off a lot quicker. It just makes mathematical sense, which is why this top commenter says this is why we need a financial literacy course taught in schools. Now, what people really need to do, especially now with, you know, the whole internet and all that kind of stuff, people really need to go in and look into it by themselves. Which, if you're watching this video, that's a good start. I mean, obviously, I'm not a financial expert, is what I'm trying to say, but I know a thing or two, so I mean, you're better than the average person, I guess.
I recently posted about the fact I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt, and I want to talk about it. Up until 24 hours ago, I did not know that was actually the total of all of my debt, credit cards, and student loans. That number also does not include my auto loan, and if we are adding in my auto loan, the total number is $110,938.82.
That's like a mortgage back
Since
in the
totaling
day.
up all of my debt, I don't
That's
think I've actually
crazy.
gotten one good breath of oxygen in the last 24 hours. I feel like there is an elephant sitting on my chest, and I don't think I can sit still because all I keep repeating is $95,487.73. All of this debt was racked up through decisions I made between the ages of 18 and 26. My first associate's degree I got from a community college, and I didn't have to pay
credit
for
card
it because of the
companies
Pell
are
Grant,
farming
but I decided to go to a
teenagers,
university and got my
young
bachelor's
adults.
degree, which is where I really started to rack up the debt. Then in the last 2 years, I decided to finish a nursing degree at a community college in the last 2 years, but that's where I started to rack up even more debt. What really sucks is realizing that the majority of these student loans is not from tuition. It's actually from living expenses and living way above my means. My debt comprises of 2 credit cards, 5 federal student loans, and 5 private Sallie Mae loans. I can handle the federal student loans, but when I tell you Sallie Mae is bending me over and not in a way I like, it's actually insane. Sallie Mae is genuinely evil, and they prey on young students. And the reason why they take advantage of
no
young
idea what
students
Sallie
is
Mae
because
is,
they
so I'm
know
about
if
to
you're
learn something
reaching
new.
out to a private loan like that, you genuinely need it. Out of the 5 Sallie Mae loans I have, one of the interest rates that is the highest is 16.28%. The lowest interest rate I have with Sallie Mae is 9.88%. Now, my federal student loans are between 4 and 6%, which I think is manageable. Although I had parents who would tell me what I should or shouldn't do, I never had anybody really sit me down and fully teach me financial literacy. I never had anybody sit me down and really explain to me the scope of what I was doing and what it would look like in the future when I had to pay for it. In the moment, all of the student loans just felt like fake money because they just kept coming and I just kept spending. I don't regret any of the
Because you don't
experiences
see
I've
it. You don't
had
see
between
none
the
of that
ages
money.
18 and 26.
It's easy to
or
spend
any of the
money
things
that you
I've
don't
done, but I do
have.
wish that I managed my finances way better than this. I think what's even more sad is a lot of these student loans were going to rent, which my rent was around $1,200 a month, and that's been consistent over the last 2-3 years. Thankfully, I do have a finance bro as a boyfriend, and he is really great at managing money and managing wealth, and so
And I'm happy for her. I'm happy that he's still sticking with her.
If I snowball all of my loans at the current rates that they are without consolidating them, I can pay all of this off by 2032. It's really sad because I'm excited about starting my first nursing job next month, but at the same time, I know that all of the money I'm making is going to debt. I'm turning 27 this year, and I wish I could be thinking about starting a family or getting married or buying a house, but really, I can't think about anything but paying off this debt. The last thing I would want to do is bring a child into this world while I have debt hanging over my head. So it almost feels like my life is kind of on hold right now, but I feel like it's even more motivation to just pay this off as quickly as possible. It is what it is. What's done is done. And at the end of the day, if you are in your early 20s and you're thinking about taking out student loans, I urge you to reconsider and ask yourself whether or not you really truly need it. If I knew then what I know now, I would tell myself that no experience, no desire, no want is worth the stress that I feel now.
Now, see, I think that's really sad, especially with how schools are starting to become really scammy. I mean, a lot of these degrees really aren't worth being degrees that people actually spend money on. But what's the worst part is that a lot of these student debts are really coming from people that are like nurses, doctors, people that are really important to society as a whole. And while you could point to the fact that yes, they make a lot of money, right? People really need more doctors. So why are we charging them the most out of any other degree? I mean, even other people who go become nurses, become doctors, not everybody is qualified to become doctors. So even if you want to use the excuse of, oh, by pushing out cheaper schooling for these kind of fields, then more unqualified people would make it through. But really, if you actually look at how hard a lot of these kind of students work, you'd be really impressed. And one more question. Let's say you're dating somebody with a lot of debt. Would you still stick with them? Like, let's say they were hiding that debt from you for a while, and they come out and tell you, oh, hey, I'm $100,000 in debt. Oh, I'm $50,000 in debt. Would you still stick with them? And if you would, at what point would it be too much? Let me know down below. With that all said and done, I think I'm going to end the video off here. If you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed my content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But with that all said and done, I will see you guys probably Wednesday. Bye-bye.